Up, guys? This is Jacob again with Rise and Land Clearing Growth with a little special guest, Carter. That's my son. He's joining us today. Hey, I just wanted to do a quick live Q&A today, answer any questions that folks may have, and just be available for anybody who may be following or just have questions about land clearing marketing and 2026. So that's a big thing I want to cover is, what's going to make you successful in 2026 and also kind of look back at what 2025 looked like. I spent most of the morning gathering the data from all of our clients from 2025 for the full year. And that's this chart that's right here. Sorry, my camera's backwards. Um, just kind of showing the averages and the lead volume. Now, everybody that kind of starts to ramp up here, these are guys who have either been with us like a year plus, 2 years plus, and or have a little bit higher of an ad spend because we've scaled up over the years. But that being said, across about 140 accounts on in 2025 land clearing, when I say accounts, that's like the dashboard we use to help track everybody's stuff. All the land clearing companies. So when I say accounts, I mean land clearing companies. So across 140 land clearing companies in 2025, the average was about 50 leads a month. Now, as you can see on the chart here, if you look at the top, there's a couple people who are well over like 1,000 leads for the year, as well as like right here is the 1,000 mark. So there's a couple people in the 2,000 leads range. So those people are getting, well over 100 to 200 leads per month, meaning they're getting, 3 to 4 a day. Again, those are people who've been with us for years and may have a scaled up to a higher ad spend than what we normally start people out with. That being said, doesn't mean you can't start there if you have the right foundation content and you're able to sustain that type of growth and capacity. But even that being said, across the board, with the average being 50 leads a month over the whole year of 2025, pretty darn awesome, right? So if you're looking at, going into 2026, what's going to make you successful? Well, there's going to be some things that are different. But what we do know is that people need to know you exist, right? And there's kind of multiple ways to do that. A lot of businesses start and grow on word of mouth, and word of mouth is great. It's usually a referral, it's usually an easier sale. It's nice when people are spreading your name and your reputation by word of mouth, which is a very good way to grow your business, but it's becoming harder and harder to rely on that. And it it doesn't always allow for you to have people coming in requesting your service consistently and predictably. And you can't necessarily say like, hey, I want more word of mouth jobs next month. You can't really control that. So you don't have predictability in your business growth. And then also we're seeing, obviously over the past 20, 25 years, things have transitioned with the internet and online and all this stuff. But just in the last few years, we've been seeing a big transition in how people buy. The buyer behavior has kind of changed. And so a lot of what our business does is sort of help land clearing businesses make up for that, because land clearing from what I see is way more blue collar than even a lot of blue collar jobs, but it also seems to kind of be more old school, and it falls behind the trends. That they don't land clearing companies don't usually pick up the trends as fast as like, roofing, HVAC, plumbing, electrical companies do. So that's one thing we kind of help with, is help these guys who have machines, who have good reputations, who have years and years of experience, get in front of the right people online, which allows their business to grow exponentially. Like you may have seen some of the case studies, but we have companies that have grown from from 400,000 a year to 400,000 a month, right? And so that's a 10x growth in 2 or 3 years, and that's what we really like to see in terms of growth across years. But that's one thing we help with. But the thing is, I like to show this so that you can see, the consistency. Like, imagine if your business didn't do what you wanted it to do in 2025, what would it have done if you would have had 50 to 100 leads every single month for the whole year, right? And leads meaning people requesting your services and inputting qualifying information is what I mean by leads. Filling out a form with their contact information, their property location, and a description about the project that they want done. Quick math on that. If you got 50 leads a month, and let's say worst case scenario, only half of those were good. So you get 25 good ones, right? And then let's say you can close 30%. So 3 out of 10 leads you can close. So then you're looking at 7.5. So 7 to 8 jobs. Let's say 7 jobs. And if those are, $5,000 jobs, that's $37,000 or $35,000, right? So $35,000 extra revenue, $35,000 new revenue, new work on top of, whatever you already had going on. That's worth it, right? Like, I mean, you can see our prices on our website, but if you compare it to really any legitimate marketing firm or marketing agency, that's probably going to be what you're paying in a year. And you can earn that in a month if you can close 30% of half of 50 leads, right? So it's like the math really works out well. And that's why people like this stay with us for years and years and scale up and spend more money, is because they're getting that return on that investment. Now, full disclosure here, that doesn't mean it works out every single time, right? So we have a 97% retention rate, meaning 97% of the people who work with us stay with us. They're that sign up, they stay with us, they keep paying, right? 3% don't. A lot of times what happens with those 3% is it's somebody that we sold or that we allowed to work with us that we probably shouldn't have. They were too small, or their company was too new, or they didn't have enough experience, or they really didn't have enough capital to invest in this long enough to see the return. They maybe had enough for just 1 month. And so we learned a lot of lessons with that on being able to provide the most value for clients along the way. And so I've changed things in the business. So like, I don't let people start with us unless they commit to 4 months, right? And so, because I found that 4 months is kind of the sweet spot for us to get the most return on investment for you without you committing to a year long, but also not just trying to do 30 days and seeing what happens. Now, lots of guys do get really good results in 30 days, right? But a lot of that is going to be variable depending on your business. Some guys come in and they're booked out already, so they can't get a return on investment in 30 days. Some guys, their sales cycle's a little slower. Like, people don't necessarily just pick up the phone and want you to come over with the machine tomorrow. That does happen, right? But that doesn't happen all the time. And then other guys are really used to referrals because that's how they built their business. And referrals are usually an easier close, an easier sale. But when you come to people just finding out about you online and calling or filling out a form because they're interested, that doesn't mean they're ready to pay you $15,000 tomorrow. It happens, yes, but it's more of a sales cycle. You have to warm them up. You have to tell them about you. You have to educate them. They have to trust you, right? So some guys get a little shocked when they start getting 50 leads a month and they realize, they have to kind of walk these people through an educational sales process. So that, is part of actually what we do when you work with us, is we kind of help you with that process because we've seen it so many times successfully that I've been able to build these templates and these playbooks and these documents that help you close more jobs more often and walk you through that sales process. So yeah, I mean, again, the math on that, if you're doing averaging 50 leads a month, which we obviously know is incredibly reasonable based on the data here in this chart, which again comes from 140 land clearing companies across the US in 2025, we know you can easily get a return on investment spending $3,000 to $5,000 a month, being able to make between $30,000 and $50,000 a month, which is kind of the normal. Like for us, if you average it out, the average return on investment for a client of ours is about a 7x. Now we have plenty of guys getting 15, 20x, depending on how their business is set up. And then there's guys getting 3 to 5x, right? But 7x is kind of the average. And especially at that 4-month mark. Now, as the years go on, it can creep up to 100x, as people land bigger jobs and stuff. But that being said, 2026 is going to be a little different. So we're having to invest in a lot of things. I'm hiring people, I'm building infrastructure, I'm investing in software, I'm investing in AI, I'm investing in tools so that we can make sure our clients are ready for 2026, because big things are coming and they're coming fast. And with AI, it's not necessarily like, oh, your land clearing business needs an AI, but you need to be utilizing it to make yourself more efficient so that you can keep up with the competition. But you also need to understand how your buyers are utilizing it. And the thing is with AI is it's making information readily available faster than it's ever been. So you want to make sure that when somebody types in land clearing, forestry, mulching, whatever, now people are being fed the information rather than having to scroll through Google and find and look and compare. Google will just recommend somebody. And right now, or the AI, ChatGPT, whatever. Now they're just going to recommend a company. Well, the companies that they recommend are the ones that have the best trust signals. The number one trust signal being pricing. Huge. This is a huge shift because for years and years, people didn't want to show pricing on their website. So number one trust signal for Google and AI is pricing. Next is reviews, of course. But both of those things tie back to having relevant, accessible information that the AI or Google can pull from, right? So coming back to what I said earlier, is for your business to succeed and also to grow, people need to know you exist. Well, over the years, there's been lots of ways for people to know you exist. Now, the way I prefer for people to know I exist is I like to have online advertisement, whether that's organic or paid. I like to have that available for people to find when they're searching, and then they come to me. Now, there is a whole method of people that do like outbound teams where they're going, shaking hands, knocking doors. Roofers do this, knocking doors, putting out door hangers, billboards, yard signs. All of these things work and they work well. They're things you can do and probably should do to a degree. But at some point, you got to look at the time money equation, right? And if you can spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month on paid advertisements in the right way, and have on average 50 people coming to you requesting your services per month, that is a really nice place to be. And that's how I like to set things up for our clients. So we can do that very predictably. We've been doing it for 4+ years in the land clearing space specifically. But 2026 is going to be a little different. So we're trying to build things up to make sure that you're ready for it. And so we can obviously do this pretty easily, but things are changing and we're trying to actively change with it. So that's one of the benefits of partnering with an agency that's, staying ahead and has data from spending millions and millions of dollars and getting to see the way that changes work every day. But for your land clearing company to grow and be successful in 2026, there are some big things that you're going to want to focus on. But the reason I keep setting this foundation is that if you don't have consistent opportunities of people reaching out and calling you every single month, every single week, every single day, you are going to fall behind. Of these 140 people, we have them in almost every single state, right? And so if you were not as busy or didn't grow as much as you wanted to last year, this year, whatever, it's probably because you didn't have this fixed. You didn't have people calling and filling out your form every single day or multiple times a day for a year, right? So you need to fix that first. We can easily fix that. But then this coming year, again, things are going to be changing. And where AI is going to come into your business is speed, right? People are now very used to information getting to them quickly and kind of being spoon fed to them. And the big change on that is pricing and price estimating. So the guys who are able to give the customer the most information in the shortest amount of time will win in 2026. We saw pieces of this starting to happen in 2025, but it is going to be the differentiator in 2026. 78% of customers will go with the first company to give them enough information to make a purchasing decision. Now, historically, that was like making sure that you got people an estimate within a couple days. Well, in 2026, we're talking minutes. And that's the thing with AI is when it makes changes or it adds efficiencies, it does it really, really fast and like exponential, right? Like when the internet came in 1995, it kind of, we would say, took storm, but it still took like months and years. AI has been making these insane changes in the market and to the internet in like days, right? And so we're trying to keep up with these changes, for you guys. But speed to lead, speed to estimate, speed to information, speed to education, those are all of the things that are going to separate land clearing companies in 2026, the winners and the guys who stay mediocre or maybe eventually get phased out. Because if your competitor can get the client the information, all the information they need to make a decision, to get scheduled, to know everything that's going to happen with their uh, project faster than you, then they're going to win. So that's the piece that AI solves for your business. Unless you're going to hire, you know, 10 people to be on this big team that works your leads, that sells your leads, that pushes out information, that pushes out marketing, that pushes out content, that puts out FAQs and content, or you could have AI do these things for you. And that's one thing we're investing in to be able to apply to our clients in 2026 is for AI to be able to help them get as much information as fast as possible to their clients as often as possible. We've already solved the problem of how do we get people to find out about them and reach out to them every day, all day for years. We do that. The next piece that is going to make you win next year is being able to get that person the information as fast as possible, give them the opportunity to take action on that as fast as possible, while learning to trust you, learning your process, and being educated on how, why, when, where, what, and how much. That's what's going to win. Now, there's 2.0 versions of this where you can use AI to make your business a lot more efficient in terms of machine tracking, maintenance tracking, employee tracking, GPS and like estimate tracking. There's all kinds of stuff on that end. So that's like, and then content. That was the next thing I was going to say is content. So there's lots of cool ways, like, a lot of guys say they don't have time to make videos, they don't have time to do this, they don't have time to do that. Well, there's some pretty cool ways coming in where if you set up the infrastructure right, when you or your guys take pictures or videos at the job site and you click one button for it to upload, then it automatically starts getting made into content that can then be used for your social media, it can be used for a website, it can be used for your ads, all kinds of things like this, right? These are the things that are going to set businesses apart. Content is quickly becoming your reputation and your website. You need to have FAQs. You need to have things about you. You need to have things about your service. Notice the difference there. Things about you and things about your service. People want to hire people. That's why word of mouth referrals worked for so long and still works to a degree this day. But that's shifting. A lot of trust and education is shifting to online, and people need to be able to pull up your social media and learn about you, learn about your service, learn about your company, learn about your pricing, learn about how you do things, why you do things, how long you've done things, all of this stuff. That's what people want to learn. And so you, as a business owner, if you have a system and process in place and AI to make that system and process faster, more efficient, and less costly, you're going to win versus the competitor who says that this stuff doesn't matter, who doesn't want to be a part of it, who thinks they can keep going the way that they're doing it. You're going to win. And again, in 2025, we were able to, consistently get you in front of people all year, every month, every day, and them reaching out to you. But the thing that's going to set you apart next year is speed to lead, speed to estimate, speed to education, and speed to content. That's where it needs to be a flywheel. Because when people look at your Facebook and your last post was a 4th of July post or Thanksgiving post, that's going to make a difference. And the same methods that we use to get these leads in 2025 is not necessarily going to be the same thing that works in 2026. Facebook is changing massively, Google is changing massively, and content is becoming more and more important. Versus 2021, 22, 23, we had some ads that we ran all those years and did really, really well. And we were able to use, hyper specific targeting. Well, now they're taking some of this stuff away and they're wanting more control on their algorithms and letting the AI do its stuff in the background. But for that to be successful, you have to you have to feed the machine, right? You have to give it what it wants. And so it's becoming more and more demanding to get content. And unless you're going to hire a full-time content person, this is another piece that AI can help solve for your business to help you use that content more often, quicker, easier, faster, etc. That's going to be the thing. That's going to be the thing in 2026. If I were to simplify it down, is using AI to solve speed. Speed is going to win in 2026. And I don't mean like rushing around, stressed out all the time. I'm saying letting AI solve the things that makes your process from people finding out you exist to them paying you as simple, frictionless, and efficient as possible, and without involving you. 73% of people report that they prefer a self-service option. Where do we see this? Every restaurant's starting to have kiosks. Well, fast food, I should say, starting to have kiosks. Even sit-down restaurants, they put that little screen on the thing, like at Chili's. Grocery stores, self-service options. Gas stations are starting to have lots of self-service options. It's buyer behavior changing because of technology, and the land clearing companies that recognize this and make up for it, they're going to win. Now, I'm not saying if you don't do this, your business is just going to close down in 2026. I mean, it's possible, but I mean, if you've had a business for 20, 30 years, it's probably not just going to go away, but it will probably slowly fade away, and you will lose out on opportunity. There'll be opportunity costs. The guys that scoop up this opportunity, they're going to win. And I think a great example here is on this chart where you see the guys that are, grossly over 1,000 versus the majority of the other guys way over here. The big things that they did is took our recommendations with content. And because they had more content, we were able to scale. So they got a lower cost per lead. And then we were able to say, hey, now that you have double the leads for the same price, let's double the ad spend. So now you're getting 4x the leads because you have better and more content, and you're able to put that ad spend behind it. For those that may be watching that didn't watch in the beginning, this is just a chart of the compiled data that I've been pulling this morning from 140 land clearing companies across the US over the year of 2025. So the average between all of them came out to about 50 leads a month. And so if you broke that down, I just did the math on it, say when I say leads, I mean people filling out a form with their contact information, property location, and description of the property and description of the job they need done. So if you got 50 of those on average and only half of them were good, that would be 25. And if you could close 30% of those 25 that you gave an estimate to, that would be 7.5. And if those were just $5,000 jobs, that would be $37,000. And what I said is basically if you're hiring any kind of legitimate marketing firm or agency that's focusing on your growth and focusing on your systems and processes and focusing on keeping you ahead and keeping you top of trend, keeping you top of market changes, you're going to be paying $3,000 to $5,000 a month. You can Google it. If you're doing website SEO, ads, CRM, all AI, all this stuff, it's $3,000 to $5,000 a month. Our pricing's on our website as well. You can go check it out. But $3,000 to $5,000 a month to make an additional $30,000 to $50,000 a month is a win-win, right? And those numbers track. Our average return on investment for all of our clients is about a 7x. So that number kind of tracks. But all that to be said, 2026, speed's going to win. AI is a double-edged sword. It's changing the way our customers do things, but it's also giving us a tool to be able to give the customer what they want so that we can scoop up more of the market. And what I see time and again, land clearing companies are slow to implement newer type technologies or behaviors. So what I've been saying a lot recently is if you have 10 competitors in your area and they're all, decent, then you're usually fighting for about 10% of the market. Well, if you do the things that the market wants and your competitors don't, which is what we're seeing right now, pricing being one of the big ones, you have an opportunity to scoop up way more than 10%, right? And what did I say earlier? 78% of people go with the first company to give them enough information to make a purchasing decision. So if your competitors are not giving those people self-service educational information on their service, and you are, potentially you could get 78% of your market if you have the capacity to do so. So those that plan ahead and do these things, they're going to win in 2026. So if you were here from the beginning, or if you're watching later and you have any questions about the results we got for our clients in 2025 throughout the whole year, or what's going to make you win in 2026, hit it in the comments. Ask me the question, comment later, whatever. Cody, I'm on board. Literally doing this with you guys, in the process of having a webpage built, pricing included. Heck yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So Cody's coming in, doing it out the gate, right? He's not even having to reverse engineer something. He's there, right? Love that, Cody. But yeah, if y'all have questions later, I'm either Rise or Land Clearing Growth on every platform, pretty much. Hit me up, message me anytime. I just wanted to go live today since I'd spent a couple hours pulling all this data from 2025 for all of our clients so that y'all can see that, and kind of see what's reasonable, what's realistic, and also, guys that scale up and do the right things and stay with us for years, that's when they jump way up into the more like 100 leads a month. And those are the guys doing 7 figures, right? And that's one thing I'm on a mission for in 2026 is to kind of build a predictable playbook for getting guys from 7 figures to 8 figures. We've really mapped out a pretty nice growth track for getting guys from 6 to 7 figures. But there's another level of things you need to do to jump up to that $10 million range. So I kind of want to map that out. But I want to have the case studies for it. I mean, I have 100 case studies for getting guys in our range up in that 7-figure range, but I want to take a few to that next step, but I want to have the case studies behind it. So I hope this information helps you guys, and I really hope people see that I want to make the land clearing space better in 2026. And I think we have made the land clearing space better through our clients in 2025. Um, and I want to keep doing that. So anytime anybody wants to talk or have questions or see real data, I mean, this it took me a while to get this chart right, but I didn't want to bore everybody with like CSV files or Excel spreadsheets. But if you want to see live data, um, hit me up. We can get on a call. We can look at it. Also, I should have it in the comments or the description, but if you go to Rise Online Ads slash 100, riseonlineads.com/100K, there's a tool there that you can put in your current business parameters, and it will spit out like what your capacity and utilization is after that, and what kind of the best next steps are. Like, are you ready to scale, or do you need to fix this or that first? It's a pretty neat tool, so go check it out. And other than that, I hope y'all have a very Merry Christmas and talk to you soon.